We're out here with the Tundra and we got a little bit of a power steering leak. So I found out where it's coming from, and it is, you can see down in there, which is, I can't, so you probably can't, but the motor mount right there, and then the hose is right there. It's between the motor mount and the lower control arm anchor. That's where it goes. It's part of the return line system. So we can fix this with a soft line, even though we probably shouldn't, but we can. So I'm gonna, until the hard line comes in the mail. So it comes up parallel right there with the other line, part of the return system that goes to the reservoir, and that connects right up here. So the bottom one is our rusted one going to the steering rack. The top one goes to the reservoir, and that just connects to your little coil down here to cool off your power steering line. Looks like somebody replaced something on that before, because we got some hose clamps there, but over here looks like they didn't mess with it. We got our squeeze clamps, and then there's rubber grommets along the way. So I'm probably gonna take this apart in two pieces, but if I can get out in one, that'd be cool too. Alright, so this area right here, and then the area behind it right there, those clamp the upper and lower lines together. So they should, I'm assuming, both have bolts in them. I only had one on that one. It's 12 mil. I had to shove a 13 on it to get the rust knocked off, but then 12 mil latched right on. Every single attachment point I'm going to PB blast along the way, but those metal pieces are just like stamped sheet metal, so I'm going to pry them apart. They're rusted together, so I can pull the bottom line away from the upper line here. Right here, those metal tabs I was talking about, this is the one with the bolt in it. This one didn't have a bolt, and you can see those metal dog ears at the bottom. They keep them looking like a little P shape to hold the top and bottom lines in with these rubber brackets. Again, 12 millimeter, and then I just use pliers and a flathead. Some long reach pliers really helped out here, so I'm glad I got those. From there, I wiggled off that bottom hose clamp, wiggled off. I'm gonna pull that line with the drain over here, because I can reach this drain from the other end, and then hopefully we won't have too big of a mess that ain't already down there, you know, so we'll see. Alrighty, here you can see the line system. It's kind of cramped to get under here because I'm not jacked up at all, but if I reach in front of the steering rack, this is the line that we're working with, and you can see how it kind of pivots under that control mount, and then down here, lower control arm, CV axle, and it's wiggling, and right where you see that light right there, that's where my line rubbed against the frame and broke. So looks like we got a soft line clamp right here. I'm going to release that and see if that line will pop right out. And with that, we got the line out. That's the front. It comes back, it comes over here, and then right around this area right there, looks like that's where we had our leak, and that's where it was pushing up against the frame. And I pulled it straight back, and it basically, I rotated a little bit like this, and before it was sitting more like this, so pulled it basically up in the front, and then it just fell right out straight backwards basically. So easy enough to get out. I'm gonna cut this section out, possibly all the way to like here, and replace that with like a soft line. I'm just gonna cut this out right now though, and we're gonna see how much soft line I have. Alright, so I ended up cutting two bends out, and then kind of approximated the length and added like an extra inch, because the one length was split, and then that second length looked like it was on its way out. This one looked serviceable for a while until the next one comes in, or until the new piece comes in, right? But this should get me where I need to go and let me procrastinate until this leaks, breaks, or rubs or something. But go ahead and slide it back in, and I think I got the front and back rotated to where I'm supposed to be, but this one's tight and this one's loose, so just in case I can rotate this and then tighten that up before it's all set. Okay, I got the front one half on, and then I put the rear one on. The rear one went on a lot easier because it was actively leaking, but it seemed to be clocked all right, so I just left it, tightened that other hose clamp, had to use a stubby screwdriver to get in there, or you could also use like a hand ratcheting wheel, which I can put a link for in the description. But you can see I got our 2 lines down there, and I think, yes, so our upper line is still our upper line, our lower line is still our lower line. And right now, just by the way it's sat, the lower line is pushed against the frame rail, so we know it's basically in the same position. So that seemed to be alright. I'm going to go ahead and stick those spacers back in there, because it'll get real hot over in this area if I try to bleed the system before I put those back on. So I'm going to just put them back on, hope it's alright, button it up, and then I'll bleed the system. Alright, it's pretty damn dark now. I got it all buttoned up down there. You can see they're nice and parallel again. You can't see the 2 different lines like you did before. And now it's time for redneck brake bleed, or in this case power steering bleed. But basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill this thing up. I'm going to turn it all the way right, all the way left, assuming that the pump isn't, you know, drained and all that, and there's still some fluid in the system. It should pump through just fine. And watching for air bubbles and such, and then refilling it, and then taking it for a small drive, because sitting still you can't get the full range of motion because it's trying to put pressure, but there's resistance on the tires. So going real slow, just on a back road or something, just all the way right, all the way left, looking like you're drunk as shit, and then double, triple, quadruple check this fluid. If you want, you can put in some like Lucas's thickening oil or stop leak, and that'll, if you have a seep or something like that, it'll help plug that up a little bit. But I'm going to go with the thin stuff for right now, because I want it to flow through the entire system as best as I can. So that's it. That's all you got to do in this instance. Return line only, soft lines only on return lines. You can't do it between the pump and the rack. It'll explode, it'll leak, it just won't work. So don't do that. Thanks for watching. Leave a like or something.